Hello.
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 I have a question today, and I want you to answer from your founder hats, and then take that off and answer it as a VC. Where is the line between vision and ambition as a founder and delusion? I feel like I had a few meetings this week where there's just been some really grand ideas, grand plans that just legitimately don't make any sense to me. And I'm like, maybe I just think too small, right? And maybe these people are really going to change the world and I'm just not there yet. You know, what's the balance?
I don't know if I need to switch out hats.
I don't think
All right. Because I only have one hat. I'm not a founder. So maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I think that some people overshare their roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
I think that some people are just overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And they get really excited and somehow they can't quite gauge, I don't know, social cues. They can't gauge the relationship they have with the person across the table or across the video. Some people are just overwhelming. I think it might just be a personality type more than anything. Yeah, and I think you have to learn how to focus on one thing, right? And I know that there have been moments throughout the history of our org that Brian and I can be overwhelming, like to the team. And so it really is up to other people to kind of like teach you how to lean things out. I don't know. I think it's just sometimes a personality type, not necessarily anything else.
What do you think, Brian?
I'm more on the spectrum, right? For this question, I'm definitely more on the spectrum. So I think it's sometimes a lack of words that are available. So, you know, we talked to a founder earlier this week and I was just texting him, so he won't be surprised that I'm mentioning it. He had this really great and strong and positive and powerful idea for some of the things that he wanted to do with his idea. But then we just had to tell him, hey, you can do that, but in this way, or you can do that, but have a third party do it. You can do that, but right. And so after we've started to talk about the options, then he was fine, right? He was more, he wanted to see the outcome, doesn't necessarily care about whether his org does it or another org, right? And I think sometimes founders just don't have those words and we have to kind of share them with them.
May I ask a question? Is this me or is this you, Brackeen? It looks like maybe the fiber in Tulsa might not exist where you are.
It's possible.
Behind the scenes, I thought I'd ask. Okay, got it.
Yeah. I'll see if I can get some fiber while we're like doing the show intro. We'll see if I can make the fiber better.
Okay, got it.
Well, what this is showing us is, you know, Brian's out here doing the work, out here, you know, laying the foundation in Tulsa for the foundation. Wow.
Duties as assigned. Professional and personal life. Poor guy. He had no idea when he joined this team.
I love it.
That he would move to Miami and then to Cincinnati and then Tulsa, Oklahoma. But here we are.
It sounds like a party, honestly.
Yeah. What do we have any topics other than that we want to talk about tonight, or are we good to go?
I mean, you know, I like starting on time. So outside of saying hello to Miss Orion in the audience, hey girl, hey, I'm ready to rock and roll.
All right, here we are.
All right. We're a company and a venture capital firm that invests in companies run by women and minorities, particularly when they're away from the coast. Very, very focused on the Midwest. You are watching live the first pitch competition on Twitch where you, the viewer, have an opportunity to vote for companies that you like best.
So every episode, we have 3 judges, plus you, the audience. You also get to judge each pitch. After each presentation, you'll see a cute little box pop up with a Twitter link for you to vote for if you would invest in the company yourselves.
During round 1, we watched as the startups presented their pitch deck in 5 minutes or less. Then the judges began their Q&A. After we selected viewer-submitted questions for the founders to answer, in the end, the audience and judges had the opportunity to vote in the poll below for the company they like best.
Candice, do you mind if we start?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Special shout outs to Rudy J. Ellis and Donaldi Salvant for joining us as well. We are here for episode 4 of season 6. It's wild every time I have to think about that, of Twitch Pitch, the very first pitch competition show live here on Twitch, brought to you by your very favorite people at Lightship. So let me give you the rundown if you're new. We have 12 companies that compete. They go head-to-head every season for a $25,000 grand prize and some other cool non-cash prizes as well. We see the companies present a 5-minute pre-recorded pitch video, and then we ask questions back and forth for a few minutes. We invite you, the audience watching, to also participate. So throw any questions, comments, or thoughts you have about the companies in your comment box below, regardless of where you're watching us, whether it be on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, whatever. We'll get your questions answered on the show. In addition to asking questions, you get to vote. So it's super important that you stick around every episode. You'll see a number pop up on the screen. It'll be a quick little texting line, and you'll text the number of the company that you would want to win the prize. So today we are seeing our last batch of companies. We're going to see our final 3 companies of the season. And then next week we'll come back for the most highly voted companies for the finale. We're super excited for this episode, as we are every episode, and we couldn't do it without some of our fantastic sponsors. Thank you so much to JPMorgan Chase. They're one of the oldest financial institutions in the United States that serve corporations in over 100 countries. UPS is one of the largest and most trusted global logistics and shipping providers in the world. And the Ohio Third Frontier, OTF works with innovative startup companies across the state, making Ohio the destination for tech entrepreneurs. Thank you so much to our sponsors. We're very grateful to have you every season. So the show is brought to you, in addition to our sponsors, by our fantastic team. We have Miss Candice Brackeen, who is the founder and executive director of the Lightship Foundation, which works to educate and empower founders from underestimated backgrounds across the Midwest and the South. And then we have our fantastic Brian Brackeen, who leads all things education for the foundation, all things AI. And both of these lovely people are the co-GPs of Lightship Capital, the fund, as well. So we're going to get right into it. I'm very excited to see our last batch of companies tonight. We're going to start off with a little child welfare, child empowerment. Let's bring on the team from Moxie.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lydia Hinshaw, founder and CEO at Moxie Girl. We are doing big things to address a $3.5 billion problem, and we want you to join us on our mission by investing in our growth. This is a timely market opportunity that can deliver strong venture returns from our team at Moxie. Our bold goal is to connect 10 million youth to mental health recovery and peers who understand. We started 2 years ago, and we are well on our way to reaching this goal. At Moxie, we are focused on filling the gaps in the mental health market for youth. We've built a mental health care platform that connects youth to peer support and tools to improve their mental health recovery. In the past year, we've grown over 200%. Today, our technology covers over 600,000 lives. In the next 2 years, we will cover over 3 million youth lives across the Midwest, and we will realize $4.5 million in annually recurring revenue by 2023. So what's the problem we're setting out to solve? It's a $12 billion problem in healthcare with a $3.5 billion total addressable market. Youth behavioral illness continues to rise after COVID. Youth are experiencing worsening anxiety since COVID. Suicide is now the second leading cause of death for youth, and there's been a 92% increase in emergency department visits for suicidal ideation and attempts for youth. Many of these increases in illnesses are preventable with the right intervention and stabilization support system in place. Our software provides a solution. And the time to act is now. The federal government has allocated more than $4 billion to address this problem. States have money to spend on behavioral health. They're seeking community mental health solutions and mobile crisis service programs. Our technology meets these needs by providing a safe place for youth and their caregivers. We have the proven go-to-market model to capture these funds. We provide a safe place for youth, we provide a safe place for their caregivers, and we help offer preventative tools for behavioral illness. We are currently at $120,000 annual recurring revenue for licensing of our technology. We're expanding into 5 states with high youth Medicaid populations. The time to act is now, and we are the solution to address this problem and lead the market. The total addressable market is $3.5 billion. And our strong leadership team is here to help continue accelerating our growth. Our experience and network sets us up to deliver strong returns to our investors. I've led large teams developing global consumer software products across Procter & Gamble's categories of brands. I sold my last startup to a publicly traded company in a highly federally regulated space, which yet again gives us another reason to believe for entering, scaling, and growing in this market. Heather, my co-founder, has led large teams in front-end innovation for more than 20 years. She's developed regulated products in the feminine care category. She's developed technology for health-focused and emotionally charged global consumer categories at scale. You can count on our founding team to deliver the strong returns you are looking for. We want you to be a part of our growth. Will you join us?
Hello.
Well, hello, Lydia. How are you?
Doing well. How are y'all?
It's good to see your face.
You too. Thanks for having me on the show.
Okay, so I'm going to start with just a tiny bit of advice, and I don't know if the other team members of mine will have similar advice. So just for the audience to know, like I have met Lydia before, I actually know her spouse, and but this is, I think, the second time we've talked about your company, maybe the third because he was in there somewhere. So you're a bit of a boss, like, I don't want to say boss lady, but like just a boss. I would bring that team slide up so you can establish your strength early on. I mean, you've had an exit, let people know it. You know how to run a company. Like, this is where we are right now and this is where we're going. But like, I've done this before. So that's my free advice here on Twitch Fish.
Thank you. It's great advice.
Secondarily, what do you mean by peer support?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. So peer support is a growing method of support for behavioral illness. So it is a method of a peer who is someone who has a lived experience in a behavioral health disorder or a mental illness. They've come through on the other side. So think substance use disorder, or maybe there's past trauma, or someone who's been through a number of things in their life that have caused them to be consumers of the mental or behavioral healthcare system. They have been in recovery and they're certified to help others who are undergoing similar traumas. So it's a Medicaid reimbursable service in over 39 states, and it's really growing as a way to come alongside people with behavioral illness and support them, because it's an individual who can provide empathy. It's someone who's been there, and it's proven to reduce hospital readmission rates by 56%. So it's an evidence-based approach to behavioral health care in Medicaid community and in other in the healthcare market as a whole.
So almost like a secondary option, like when I go to see the pediatrician, sometimes we see the nurse practitioner.
Yes.
It's another pathway toward getting help and therapy.
Yep. So think of it as something that can be supplementary to someone who's in an outpatient program, or in a big part of the market we're trying to really own and drive is the preventative care. So a lot of times this can really be an on-ramp to someone who, suicidal ideation, like I mentioned, someone who might need that sort of care before things get worse, someone who might not feel comfortable talking to a therapist because of a stigma associated with it. It's someone who, looks like you, has had the same experience, but is there as an evidence-based approach. So they might be alongside your care team, or they can refer you to care if you need it, if you need a greater level of care as well.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Who's next?
Go ahead, Brian.
Great presentation. I agree with Candice. I'd love to learn more about your bossness early, because I was really impressed, when I heard that. I'd love to know about the design of how you deliver the service, because design is always important, but for this group, it's probably super, super important, right? So how do you build that trust and deliver a good design?
Yes, that's a great question. So in the adolescent market, like you said, it's critical, to have the stickiness. So the first thing is, is diversity in hiring. So with the providers that we work, we come alongside providers who have caseloads of youth who are diagnosed with a behavioral health condition. And so one of the reasons that they really like partnering with us is because we bring diversity of experience. We bring diversity of mentors in terms of their past experiences they've been through. And it's young adults, it's college age individuals, maybe not enrolled in college, but the general age of undergrad to master's level age range that live all across the country, that are in a mobile application available on demand to provide that support. So, we have to start first with our workforce, making sure that they're relevant, connected to the consumers we're serving. And so we start there. We deliver the service in the palm of a girl's hand and the palm of a boy's hand. So making sure it's mobile accessible, it's web accessible. So whether they have a phone, a tablet, as long as you can get to the internet, you can connect in a safe and secure manner on a video call or on text. And then we also deliver the service asynchronously. So inside the platform, youth can set goals. They can take mental health questionnaires. We can flag alerts, for anyone who might be, needing greater care. So really being thoughtful about the user experience too.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about, well, first, before I ask my question, everyone who's watching, throw any questions or comments you have in the comment box below, and I'll get to them in a second. So, Dr. Lydia, tell me about the problem. We've talked about this a lot. I had no idea the severity of the problem. So could you go a little bit more in depth for our audience? Really what the problem is, how do you think we've gotten to this point as a nation, and steps moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought it up. So, you heard in the pitch that it's a $12 billion problem. So youth mental illness as a whole it was a big problem years ago. It's, and through COVID continues to be even more of a problem. So the heartbreaking news is that, pre-COVID, suicidal ideation or the leading cause of death, suicide was the third leading cause of death for youth pre-COVID. Now, post-COVID, it's the second leading cause of death. And in some states, it's the first leading cause of death for youth, specifically Colorado just last week declared a state of emergency for youth suicide ideation. And so when you look at the problems, you look at, with COVID, I'm probably going to repeat statistics we've all heard, but social isolation, there's a stigma around asking for help. There's a stigma around it not being okay to be and not being okay to not be okay. There's also an accessibility issue, and there's a cost issue when it comes to accessing care, especially for the underserved market. So what we found through COVID is that there's a heavy disparity in youth who are in the Medicaid market, who typically receive a lot of their services through schools or through community mental health programs that are in person, And so, being able to provide a virtual service with care, with peer support who are showing up all across the state, all across the country, is one way to address that. But, we're seeing the tailwinds of COVID as well. So those sorts of challenges continue to rise, which is why it continues to be a problem.
Absolutely. I don't see any questions for you in the comments. So this is the time for those of you watching. If you would like to vote for Lydia at Moxie, text the number 9 to 203-408-6432. Once again, to vote for Lydia at Moxie, text the number 9 to 203-408-6432. Thank you so much. All right, team. While we get in our boxes, Brian, why don't you go first? What are your thoughts?
As we move to our boxes, I said earlier this season, like certain companies, you could have 10 of them funded and it wouldn't be enough, right? Like this is such a critical problem. It will literally save lives. People say that term, but in this case, it's actually true. So yeah, I would love to see it just used all over the country.
Absolutely. Candice?
Yeah, big problem that needs to be solved by lots and lots of different people. I don't know, Brian, you tweeted something out today about there are a few unicorns in that like last 10% of, and I was just like, that's absolutely true. Like there's plenty of room here. And it has to be solved. It doesn't make any sense. I couldn't imagine, having to deal with something like that with my children. It could happen at any point. There was just recently here in Cincinnati, a lawsuit that was settled by the Cincinnati public schools for an 8-year-old who had committed suicide after being bullied at school. And there's just not a great support system. And we've got to figure out a way. So this could be one of the ways, it could be the way. And I love the framing of there's a lot of federal dollars right now. Like this is what federal dollars needs to be going to, right? Not to pet projects, it needs to be going to solving issues for youth, especially those in underserved populations.
I agree, absolutely. I'm just going to quickly answer Scovolenko 99's question. Is there a service like this for youth boys? So actually Moxie, and not to speak on Lydia's behalf, but the platform is moving from Moxie Girl to just Moxie and is able to be used by people of all genders, youth of all genders at this point. So I agree. It's a very, very important thing. Yeah, the only thing that, as always, I always get concerned about anyone that sells to anything at a state level, just because it's slow, it's cumbersome, you're not going to get paid on time. But I once again, I like what she's building. I think it's important. I'd be excited to see how the potential revenue stream outlets can expand. And so with that, we're going to lighten the mood just a little bit, bring out the party, and let's meet Daryl in the club.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daryl Frater. I'm the founder and CEO of The Club, Live DJs and Parties app. Over the past year, DJs have learned a new skill, and that skill is how to live stream their DJ sets. Now they're live streaming and attracting millions of viewers, but there are several issues with current live streaming platforms that prevent DJs and attendees from having a great party experience. There are massive copyright issues, they lack the ability for monetization, and there is poor functionality for user engagement. The solution to this is a live streaming platform designed specifically for DJs and partygoers. This has led me to create The Club. We're a live streaming app that helps partygoers find and attend parties that are happening in real time via DJ live streams. We launched the first version of the app on September 27, 2020, and to date we have nearly 3,000 DJs active in our community. We love talking to our users. We surveyed over 500 of our DJs and have interviewed over 150 of them on our podcast, which has given us tremendous validation of our value proposition. We generate over $4,500 in revenue to date. Our product is simple. When DJs are performing, they create an event to tell everyone where they're live streaming from. They start to stream, and we make it easy for the partygoers to tip the DJs of which they can cash out those earnings very easily. Our business model is freemium plus transactional fees. When DJs earn tips from the audience, we take 20% of the transaction. Additionally, we provide options for DJs and nightclub owners to upgrade their subscriptions for more monetization tools. We serve two markets, social media and SaaS. Using a bottom-up approach, on the social media side, there's a $105 billion global opportunity, and on the SaaS side, there is a $55 billion global opportunity. We're not your typical live streaming platform. We are built specifically for DJs and partygoers to provide the best party experience available. We have a dynamic team of individuals with great startup and corporate experience, and some amazing advisors, including NWA's OG Arabian Prince. These are our projections. We anticipate profitability by year 2 and to generate nearly $19 million in revenue by year 5. Again, my name is Daryl Frater, and we're helping partygoers find and attend parties that are happening in real time via DJ live streams. Once we're successful with the nightlife industry, it unlocks the opportunity for us to replicate our success with other industries. Now, who's ready to party? But more importantly, who's ready to bring life back into the entertainment industry after a full year of lockdown? Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you in the club.
Hello, welcome to the show, Daryl. Hello.
Hey, what's going on, everyone?
The name of your company, I think about 50 Cent. It just starts playing in my head. So while I get that song out of my head, Candice.
Thanks. I appreciate you. So tell me how you landed on your business model of tips.
Yeah, so over the past 2 years, I've been in my MBA program where I study strategy, innovation, and leadership. And I've been working with Asian live streaming platforms, two of them called Bigo Live and Up Live, where they have an innovative business model that is a full economy based on in-app tipping of their streamers. So I've been working with them for 2 years, and I've seen this opportunity to use their business model for a specific use case here in the US that's going to really be able to partake in the creator economy that I thoroughly believe in.
Okay, so I just have a question because I know I'm a good tipper, but I know there are some people that are around me that are not great tippers. No one on this stream, we're all great tippers. But I'm nervous that maybe the tipping economy in the United States is not the same as it is in Asia. Do you have anything to say to that?
Yeah, so we see the tipping as the primary source, but we also want to be able to monetize via ads and brand sponsorships. So that way, even when people are just participating with their eyes, they're still donating and allowing the creators to make money on the platform. Okay,
you've got to get to some pretty big scale to monetize ads. So just be very, very aware of that. Who's up next, Brian?
Yeah, I've got similar questions more around the fee itself. Because I saw you had a WeFunder link, and because you're talking to investors, there's an opportunity to raise capital and maybe lower the fees in the beginning to get more people on, to Candice's point. So you have more folks for advertising, right? Should that fee, have you thought about something more like 2.5% versus 20?
Yeah, so in regards to the fee, we've gotten tremendous feedback that the DJs in our community aren't really worried about the take fee. We're really designing the platform to where they're going to be able to monetize tremendously. And the fact that we're taking a small percentage and giving them the opportunity where they couldn't monetize otherwise, they understand why this is important, because they're live streaming for free on the other platforms, not making any money. So they come onto a platform where we can monetize them and help them build their business and their brand. That's truly valuable, and they are okay with paying the fee. So we're definitely open to experimenting, but as it stands today, 20% is fair with the other opportunities that people are taking amounts from other platforms.
Quick follow-up question. If you, on the polling of the DJs, you're essentially polling the people that accepted the 20%, right? How do you poll the people that didn't, the DJs that didn't come on platform? What if that, how do you poll those people as well?
Yeah, so I'm really big on community building. So I'm super close with the DJs in our platform, and then externally, a lot of DJs are actually on Twitch, which is the company that we're streaming on right now, and they use a similar tipping model So this is a common model that's being used in the new kind of creator economy that's establishing. And with this, it's kind of typical to what they're used to. And we're just really playing a role in that space, but specifically for them and allowing them to monetize effectively and build audience specifically for them.
Thank you.
Excellent. Daryl, so audience members, ask all your questions down below in the comments section. We'll get to them in just a second if you have any. So Daryl, tell me a little bit about one, big picture, and two, what's the immediate future? I'm sure everyone asks you this, right? Like, as our resident nightlife specialist on the team, I'm ready to go back to the clubs. I'm going, right? I've got concert tickets. I've got DJ tickets. So what happens now as we start to re-enter in-person nightlife again? And how do you continue to grow your platform?
Great. It's a super exciting question. And I actually love answering this. We are focused on the hybrid events where the DJs are actually doing what they learned over the pandemic of live streaming and applying it back to the in-person events. So that way, when you go to these nightclubs, when you go to these events, you also have a way to communicate with the DJ via the live stream that could be set on your phone. Then also, most of the nightclubs that we're going to be working with have TVs around their facility, and we're going to work with them to get the DJ as one of those TV screens so people can interact either the live stream on the TV or their phone. And it's a really easy way for the DJ to communicate with the users, but also for the people that are at the party to communicate with other people at the party. And what's really cool is that you're able to participate in that party even if you're not there. So from the comfort of your home, you can actually participate in the party and kind of map out your nightlife plans based on what live streams are cool. So we're giving people in-person access to events that are happening where they can use the live stream as a kind of marker to decide what they want to do.
That's excellent. Sorry to interrupt, Lexi, but it's just good.
No, I agree. It is great. So maybe, I'm sorry if I missed this in the pitch. One last question for me. What's your background, Daryl? You're like an academic. So how did you get into the DJ world?
Yeah, so I'm a serial entrepreneur. So this is my second tech startup, but like my fifth business. I'm just a hustler, grinder. I'm Jamaican, so we have like 5, 6 jobs. So I just love bettering myself. So I actually went back for my MBA just to give me much more leverage in anything I do. I actually want to be in your chair one day. I want to invest in founders myself. So I went to get my MBA and became a fellow at Score 3 Ventures to really help founders and kind of just give me more leverage to be a VC eventually. And I saw the opportunity to build a club. I can tell short back, so I know I'm running out of time, but pretty much last year with the pandemic, all the proms in the country got canceled. And my last company was an app for prom. And we actually hosted a virtual prom on Instagram Live that went viral. Jack Dorsey actually got involved and he made a $45,000 donation to our virtual prom. And it just like showed me like this business model I've been studying for 2 years can be used for virtual DJing. And I'm like, let's do it. And I just kind of hit the ground running, built an MVP, invested over $75K of my own money, and just went all in.
Love that. Excellent. So I don't see any questions for you in the comments, but I see some people in the comments who are saying, listen, I have the app and I love it. So really excited to try it out myself. So folks, if you would like to vote for the club to win this show, you're going to text the number 10 to 203-408-6432. Once again, you're going to text the number 10 to 203-408-6432. And Daryl, for those of us, including myself, who may want to try out the app, how can they find it?
They can go to the Google Play or App Store and search the club Live DJs Parties.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I know we're all searching the app right now on our phones. Brian, what do you think?
I like it. I think I gave him a tough question. He gave a good answer. I think that the need is there. People have been trying to solve the should I go to this club or that club problem forever. This makes way better sense. It's like the first unique answer to that question. So yeah, I like it all around.
Excellent. Candice?
Yeah, you ever got into a club, and this is like, I've been to 5, but, and there's just like a whack DJ, right? Like that's the worst. That's the absolute worst. Here's what I know to be true. And I really loved how Daryl pushed back. He was like, look, there's a new creator economy. This is happening on Twitch. People are following DJs. And for me, I'm like, I'm not following any DJs. I'm 43 years old. Okay. I'm not the target, and that's okay. I need to realize that for myself. But the way that he was able to describe the business opportunity was really, really a good one. I can't quite understand how this thing scales, because he kind of walked through and said how much he'll make in year, 4 and 5. And for a venture-backed company, it would need to scale a little bit more quickly. So it could be a consequence of the way that he's kind of extrapolating numbers or whatever. But I get it. It makes sense. I'd love to better understand what comes next after DJs. Like, who else will utilize the platform? And will the same monetization structure be true? I have more questions, and so I think that's always a good thing, to leave a pitch and still be kind of craving for more information.
Yeah, I'll just say to you, Candice, on the growth point, if this strategy leads to slow growth, for me, and this is a Brian thing, I thought his answer was perfect, I would just raise a bunch of venture capital and grow like crazy. And I would say, we're not charging now, but we might charge in the future, and just get really big, really fast, and then charge later.
That does sound like a Brian answer. Brian would always raise way more money. I appreciate you. Thank you, fam.
Oh, you guys are hilarious. I'm biased. I'm going to put on my PE hat and my nightlife hat. I follow DJs. Listen, I follow DJs. I recently went someplace to see my favorite DJ ever, and he canceled last minute. Deadmau5, I'm talking about you.
Oh, that's what that is. Yeah.
Heartbroken. So this is an area I feel like I understand on a personal level very deeply. But I think this is something I would personally bootstrap. I feel like it's a great lifestyle business. You can really grow a rabid fandom around it. You can integrate, with the Spotify's of the world and the, what's that website, Tour Bus or whatever. I don't think it's something that I would pursue venture for, because I think maybe some of the tactics and strategies we would push may not be in the best interest of growing this organic community. So that's where I would go, but I'm excited to try it out. I'm really excited to use it.
Yeah.
So it seems like we may be having some technical difficulties with our third company tonight. So we're just hopefully maybe going to see them next season. With that, we're going to wrap the show early. What?
Can we highlight all Trey's? What is it?
Trey Setosingo?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, go for it.
That's what I'm talking about. That's somebody who knows their business.
Oh, maybe, hold on. Maybe our third participant is here. Okay. All right. Let's give it a shot. Marlon, if you're ready on the technical end, let's meet our third company of the night.
I'm so healthy. Gotta be healthy, wanna be healthy. I like to be healthy. My physical health, mental health. I take care of myself.
Oh.
He hit the wall.
My name is Roy Scott, founder and CEO of Healthy HipHop, an online platform powered by the arts and social interaction, infusing hip-hop culture and cutting-edge technology to improve learning environments. We are the Sesame Street of the 21st century. See this guy in the middle? That was me once upon a time. What was I thinking? As a kid, I was heavily influenced by hip-hop, and I didn't understand the importance of education. So after graduating high school, I decided, instead of going to college and playing Division I basketball, that I was going to be a rapper. Maybe not the best decision. Yet on that journey, I had my wake-up call when I was picking up my son Justice from school. And I noticed him repeating my music word for word. These lyrics promoted drugs, violence, and degraded women. That was my light bulb moment. If I wanted to continue pursuing this dream, and more importantly, be the man and father I need to be for Justice and my family, I'm going to have to completely change my direction and my message. This is when Healthy Hip Hop was born. Taking my talents as a writer, producer, and performer and using that to uplift children. Organically growing the brand, we've done more than 1,500 live events, reaching hundreds of thousands of children. tested the market, proven the concept, and evolved to a tech company so we can meet our growing demand. Creating a digital world of music, mindfulness, and motivation led by PJ Panda and the Healthy Hip Hop crew. Naturally, we found success in education, where teachers were using Healthy Hip Hop to get their students focused and ready to learn. And we identified a serious problem. Did you know that 2/3 of American students are not reading on grade level? Yet if you put on their favorite rap artist, they can go word for word with that. So we know that kids can learn and retain this information. The challenge is a lack of engagement due to old school learning methods that are not culturally relevant. This inspired our digital solution, the Healthy Hip Hop SaaS platform, where educators have access to our music and video content that they can live stream to improve engagement and encourage active learning. Everyone's been impacted by this global health pandemic, and right now, all of our children are being homeschooled. This is a real problem for parents. The Healthy Hip Hop mobile application gives parents an easy-to-use tool to keep their kids engaged and empowers them to create custom videos, just like TikTok, but in a safer environment for children. I've experienced this firsthand, having a daughter who loves TikTok, yet I was concerned with her online safety. This is why we created our Safe Circle technology, allowing kids to create, publish, and share their content in a secure network without the threat of a potential predator, only given access to their true community of family, friends, and educators. We make money by selling a monthly and annual subscription directly to parents, also through corporate partners who sponsor schools and school districts to have access to the Healthy Hip Hop platform. The EdTech market is over $100 billion globally and $30 billion domestically. This is continuing to grow. We're focused on the 30 million parents of kids ages 12 and under and the 2 million elementary teachers nationwide, making our share of the market $1.2 billion annually. Our team is led by experts in the music industry, corporate and educational sales, social marketing, but most importantly is our love, passion, and commitment for what we do. As we joined Techstars, we had just launched our public beta. In a short amount of time, we've grown to over 5,000 active users, secured multiple paid pilots, and brought on 3 corporate partners who believe in our mission, vision, and values. In 2018, the hip hop music genre surpassed all other genres for the #1 spot in the world and is generating billions of dollars in revenue. Healthy Hip Hop will be the trailblazers in the children's hip hop market. Join us as we transform a generation through music, mindfulness, and motivation. Tell a parent, tell a teacher to download the app and become a part of the movement today. Healthy Hip Hop is for the children, for the culture. Thank you.
All right, hello, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I had to make a road trip, but I didn't want to miss this because this is big time. So I'm dedicated about this. So that's why those technical difficulties, but glad to be here for sure.
Oh yeah, glad to have you live here on Twitch. So let's let Brian start.
Well, I love the idea of attaching something important to a growing hip hop movement that is just obviously well beyond anything of us old heads thought it would be back in the day, right? So talk a little bit about that strategy. Why hip hop? Why was it the right platform? You tell me.
For sure. Well, why hip hop is because hip hop is the most influential genre in the world. And kind of, as I ended the pitch, it's also the most consumed genre. It surpassed country and rock. And it is extremely influential on kids. And that's why I use myself as an example, because I was that child who was influenced by it. But the problem is a lot of the messaging right now is just not, suitable for children and families, and nobody's addressing that market. And so we know while these children, these young impressionable minds from 0 to 12 are being developed, it's critical that we reach them through a medium they love, but then infuse positivity, infuse technology, and still keep the cultural relevancy where it still has a swag. Because a lot of the times you think about like music for kids, programming for kids, etc., it's watered down. Ours, it stays relevant to what they're hearing in the communities, on the radio stations, etc.
Thank you.
Candice?
All right. Tell me a little bit about, it looks like it's probably been a few months since you finished your TechStars program. Tell me about how the pilots went, and has there been any conversion from pilot to kind of a fully secured contract?
Actually, it's crazy how this is lining up. This is why I'm on the road trip right now. So one of our pilots was with the Dallas Independent School District, and I connected with them through this conference called the Sea Summit, which I'm driving to right now. And so it's South Padre Island. So I take my family too. So we have a family vacation, but I go and work. So one of those pilots actually converted to where, and as you mentioned a little bit earlier, Lexi, about the long sales cycles. That's why we do the schools and direct to consumer with parents. But I went to the conference, became a vendor with the Dallas Independent School District, went through the procurement process. They submitted an RFP. I turned it in for the entire district. It's a $550K deal, and got approved and got our bid approved. So this is the largest contract we had that just now got approved. And so I'm going back down to the conference now because Barbara Johnson, who leads the urban school wellness in Dallas, actually where I'm in Dallas, I just pulled up halfway to our destination. I'm going down to reconnect with them and make sure they green light it. And so this is our biggest contract to date. And so we just secured over $500,000 in revenue. So we were able to make that convert.
Congratulations, Roy. All right, I'm going to keep going with questions then, if that's okay. It sounds like there is some user-generated content, and then it also sounds like potentially educators are creating content, and then Healthy Hip Hop is creating content as well. Is that all correct?
That is correct. And so what we identified as our special sauce is like creating the music, and so we can create that at scale. And so when it came to creating videos, it can be a little more expensive. And that's why we really turned to the user-generated content model, because, again, this is the first generation of fully native internet, social media using children. And these platforms just aren't built with them in mind. And so, again, I'm watching my kids. I'm seeing my daughter on TikTok. She's exposed to a lot of the wrong content. Anybody can access her via direct message, etc. And so that's why we made that pivot. Okay, we want to at least, we know we can't take kids away from that platform, but we at least want to give parents an alternative where they know if their kids are publishing, creating, and sharing within the Healthy Hip Hop Network, it's a secure network. Not everybody has access to them. And it kind of preps them to enter real life social media. And so that's on the user generated side. And again, we have an education advisory board. And again, so our special sauce is the music, but there are a lot of educators who are using hip hop in the classroom. So you've probably seen some people on Good Morning America who've taken Bodak Yellow and remixed it with an education theme, and they're going viral. So what we're doing is tapping into this pool of creators who are creating content specifically for our platform to grow it, and also for a way for them to revenue share and monetize that as well. So that's how we address all three of what you just mentioned.
Okay, I've got one last question, if that's okay, y'all.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So pre-COVID, you were doing live events. Is there an idea that live events will come back?
Well, live events, we've already turned back on the booking. So we've already, just in this month alone, have done over 5K just in live events. And so we had already, even pre-COVID, had made the pivot to the tech. COVID just more validated. Unfortunately, it was, it's not the best way to validate, but it was, we were already kind of ahead of the curve in that regard. And so because we knew that big picture, like getting the events were good because that was getting us entry into the schools, that was getting teachers to buy in and champion us, and kids familiar with us. So we knew we would get back to that, but big picture, that just wasn't scalable. So the tech now, instead of us being able to be in, one school, even though now we got the mascots, we can be in multiple schools, but the tech now enables us to be in thousands of schools at once. So we were kind of already pivoting to that before COVID. COVID validated it, but we are getting back to the live events as well, and also the professional development. So that's what we do to get teachers on board with why Healthy Hip Hop is so important, what's best practices, and what's really working with bringing culture to the classroom through Healthy Hip Hop.
So would you say you're an ed tech company, but you're also a media company? Because in my mind, like, I think, I can't tell you how many Kids Bop albums back in the day I owned. And so like, this gives me like a Kids Bop ed tech vibe in my mind. And maybe I'm wrong. You can correct me. But that's what I'm catching. And they made They still make a ton of money.
They make a million. So we like Kids Bop though, but with the sauce. You know what I mean? Kids Bop is a little, you know, they lack in the flavor. You feel me? For lack of better.
I've heard all the versions, and it is all. Yeah,
we bring in the Kids Bop with the flavor. And again, not knocking them because they have, like you said, found a successful business model. They have scaled it, and so we're doing the same thing. But you're right, and it's really a roadmap for us. So initially, we weren't even thinking education, but that's where we organically found success, where teachers were using healthy hip hop to improve focus, engagement, behavior, etc. And so it started with that. So initially, ed tech is like the entry to market, but big picture, this is an OTT play, so over the top platform.
Great, thank you.
No problem.
Excellent. So anyone watching, if you have any questions for Roy, drop them in the comment box below and we'll get to them in just a second. So Roy, tell us a little bit about what outcomes are you, teachers, or school systems expecting to see after implementing your platform?
So, for example, one of the biggest ones is, as I've been mentioning, is engagement. Because again, you know, in our school systems, especially, it's hard to innovate. So here it is in 2020, we're still using systems put in place from 1920, which just don't work for today's kids. So one of the biggest things is engagement. For example, Dr. Sarah Burns in the Chicago Public Schools, one of the roughest school districts, it was taking her around 4 to 5 minutes, 4 to 5, not 45, but 4 or 5 minutes to get her kids focused, engaged, and ready to get into her lesson plans. Once she started using healthy hip hop, she was able to get that to under 45 seconds, you know, because they knew they were about to engage in the music, get up and move. And this is what the kids love. So engagement is a big one, behavior and attendance. And so actually we're doing a lot of work now in the Atlanta area. So I'm originally from Kansas City, relocated to Atlanta. Some of our biggest investors are coming out of Atlanta. Plus, it's where a lot of hip hop culture lives in the A. Been working a lot with, you know, Barry Gibbons, Jewel, etc. Some really powerful people and really like genuine people that are doing great things in Atlanta. And so basically we're doing a pilot with a few schools, like Peace Prep is one, to really get a deeper dive, because we already do have some data, but really going to do a really deeper dive to show these key metrics. So now that's also going to in turn open a lot of doors when it comes to funding, when we're going after corporate partners. Because as you mentioned, Lexi, like it is hard to sell in the schools. So we go around that. We go to corporate partners. For example, if we're in the A, you're talking about the UPSs of the world, you know, you're talking about, you know, all these big corporations where now they can put their dollars into sponsoring these schools. And we don't have to worry about trying to do all the bureaucracy of working with these school districts when that just becomes, you know, a headache.
Excellent. And one last question. Tell me about the thought process of being kind of a venture-backed company as opposed to going more of the nonprofit route for this.
Yeah, so the nonprofit route, we actually have a nonprofit arm, but the issue is having the nonprofit own the IP. So we wanted the IP owned, you know, on a for-profit side. So we still do have a foundation that does, again, kind of operate to where if there's underserved schools that, you know, we can get some money under the 501c3 side of that. But for the for-profit, again, we're thinking urban Disney. You know, that's the mission here. We're going to be an iconic children's brand. And so that's what was the thinking behind this. Like, we're going to have all of our IP under a for-profit. And then as really with the tech, as we scale this up and as we become this OTT platform, I think it's, you know, it's more advantageous for us, especially as an exit. You can't exit a nonprofit. So once we hit, you know, once we get to, let's just say 5 million users, you know, 30 million in revenue, you know, and these big companies start knocking, like if you're a nonprofit, ain't no exit strategy on that. So that was the thinking behind that.
Got it. Thank you so much. Now is the time, audience. If you would like to vote for Roy and Healthy Hip Hop, you are going to text the number 11 to 203-408-6432. Once again, to vote for Healthy Hip Hop, text the number 11 to 203-408-6432. Thank you so much for joining us, Roy. Good luck.
I appreciate you for having me. Blessings.
Yes.
All right, team. Brian, what are your thoughts?
We're in the right boxes. That is dope. Love it.
Marlon is going to be so angry with you after this. He makes one tiny switcheroo for the first time all season, and you want to call him out on it.
Marlon, cut him off. Cut him off.
Boom.
Close his box. Black box.
Well, the company was great. The company was amazing. It's important. I like tying to hip hop. I had the same question about nonprofit versus for-profit. I thought his answer was good. I wonder, I'd like to really see a model as to how that exit works and who the exit partners are. I think that can be challenging here.
Yeah, especially with selling into schools. I know there's a workaround, and I know that sponsorship can work on a certain level for a certain period of time, but I'm trying to figure out what's the sustainable business model. I know right now the goal is to just get into the school, but I don't know what how do you stay there once you're there for a little while, and who's going to pay for it long term. And I'm not quite certain I understood the pricing model. Lexi, do you remember any of that?
Oh, no, I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Perfect. Better answer.
I keep thinking about the nonprofit thing, and I understand, listen, it's my job to find manufacturer exits. I get it. It's all of our jobs here on this panel. But I don't think an exit is always necessary, especially when you're doing something that's so mission driven, at least in my opinion, is so mission driven and so important and so can touch literally every life in a way that's incredibly necessary, right? I mean, we learned in Kansas City actually about the ridiculous literacy issue in this country. And I don't know if I would cap myself by not just opening the doors to any federal, state, local partnership funding, right? Like when I think about that partnership model, to me, it screams nonprofit, right? Companies that really, really care about this issue, or have tools to solve this issue, that can really pump millions of dollars into this business quickly and long-term to really, really, see long-term benefits in these school systems and with these kids.
Yeah, I think the only issue with that, and I understood what he was saying, but who owns the music, right? Like there's a thing there, and I get it. He's an artist, and having someone in my life that was an artist, it's very difficult to want to give up the control of that. So I get what he's saying, but at the same time, I think this is very much like the previous company that we heard. Like, I don't know if I would give up any equity in this. I would just roll through it.
Yeah.
He will make a ton of money. I met a lady last night who's had a faux fur company for 30 some years and is making a bajillion dollars, no outside investors. And so this company seems like that to me. Maybe some small stakeholders, but I'm not giving away large portions of anything. This seems like the kind of thing that can go 10, 20, 30 years and you don't have to talk to anybody about it.
I would agree. So everyone, guess what? We've reached the end of round 1 of season 6.
Woo!
Woof. So what we're going to do is we're going to go behind the scenes. We're going to tally up all of the votes. And then if you come back Tuesday right here at 7 p.m. Eastern, you will find out and meet the 3 companies that are in the finale. You'll see them give us a little more information about their companies, and you will see us crown the winner of season 6 of Twitch Pitch right here, live on the air, wherever you're watching, whether you're on Twitch, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever, you're going to see us right back here. So once again, tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday night, same platform. Get excited, get in the comment section, bring some popcorn. It's going to be an amazing finale, and we'll see you all then. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.